Hey, so I wanted to talk a little bit about a new experience I've been having. Um, I want to talk a little bit about modafinil. Um, and first, I wanted to give a little bit of background about me. This may be pertinent for those of you listening that are, researching whether or not modafinil or some type of study aid or focus aid is right for you. So, a little bit about me. I have I have a strong history of mental illness. I've been diagnosed over the years with things like ADHD, uh, bipolar disorder, uh, and more recently discovered that I have autism. Um, so that being said, I've struggled a lot with anxiety in my life, people pleasing, that kind of stuff. More recently, overcame most of my anxieties, uh, overcame all of my depression. Um, so I'm at a pretty stable spot without it. Over the past year, however, I decided to gain my confidence back by um, not making any timeline commitments, really delving into my creativity for the first time in my adult life, um, being productive on my own timeline. And I've called this strategy order through chaos, as opposed to what I typically consider order over chaos, which is to bring order into one's life and kind of get rid of all chaos. I try to find that order, find rhythms and patterns through the chaos. Still finishing breakfast, so hold on. This stuff has been a lifesaver for me. Great brain food. Uh, by the way, it's plants, not people. So let's talk about that for a second. Um, in this effort, I decided that I would uh, be guided by my own wants and desires and passions and really discover what it is that motivated me that I wanted to do. Um, and over the course of about 8 months, I really explored everything I wanted to do and created what I called the menu system. So I always had a menu of things that I wanted to do, and I would get up each day a blank slate and um, just really listen to, what my motivations were into that day, listen to my body, listen to my mind, see what I was motivated to do, see what held my attention that day. And sometimes it was learning, sometimes it was, just relaxing, sometimes it was being productive. It was very rarely being like super productive for more than a couple of hours a day, but it was typically like all day affairs. Like it would be learning and relaxing, or a couple of hours of productivity and then learning. It would um, sometimes it would be several hours of creating, um, typically new creation. So being productive in a non-creative sense would have been like, doing that grind work that, just has to get done. That was the difficult stuff for me. So I was creating a lot of new things, starting a lot of new things, but as typical per me, I wasn't finishing a lot. And it was a grind. It was a slow grind um, to make progress on things that I started. So I was starting up a lot of things that um, I had never had the motivation to do, but I wasn't following through, and that's something that had kind of always plagued me. It was always difficult for me to follow through. Like I needed more and more motivation past that initial starting point of so um, that being said, I decided something needed to change. So it had been a little over a year of this kind of, you know, this type of living, and it was, for all intents and purposes, it was providing better results than I had ever experienced before. I was surrounded by good people. I had people that believed in me. I had people that weren't rushing me. And for better or worse, like, that was providing better mental health results. But I still needed an ability to focus more on the things that, I didn't want to do. The grind stuff, the stuff that really, is the difference between having a cool looking portfolio of things you started and actually having shit I finished. So I decided to listen to some advice I'd been getting for years. I had a friend that was really influential for me who talked a lot about modafinil. And he was pretty big into something that was a new concept for me, nootropics. And that was something I always hesitated on because, I grew up, believing in mainstream pharmaceuticals and that kind of stuff. So I still carry around a stigma for anything off of that. Um, a lot less so now than, when he first started telling me that. So it was definitely something I put in, like, the reserve banks that he talked about, changed his life. And I changed my sentiment over the years, and now I was thinking a lot about that. So I looked into, like, I know he said it was really hard to get, and it was really expensive, so I looked into, how to get it, and I had um, just looking around, people who were selling it on the internet, and I decided to check it out from just a purely pharmaceutical standpoint. And some of the stuff I was diagnosed for, like, I had in the past. I had sleep apnea before I had my jaw surgery. I had narcolepsy back when I had sleep apnea. I have adult ADHD, so I'm like, okay, these are things that, I could probably talk to my doctor about this, who I've been going to for, about well over a decade. So I decided to set an appointment with him, and I talked to him about it, and he was totally fine with prescribing it to me, and, you know prescribed me the 200 milligram pills. And it was a pain in the ass to get pre-auth for it. um, and without going into how Walgreens dropped the ball there, I could go on a rant there, but I won't. But yeah, so I got it, and I've been trying it the past, I'd say 3 days or so. So about 3 days ago, I took my first dose, and it was a 200 milligram dose. I also got choline supplements and a choline multi supplement. Um, and the very first day I took the 200 milligrams, um, it it was amazing. It felt like the limitless drug. Like, I was able to sit and focus and introvert, and, like, even though I had all these distractions around me, like, I could focus in a way that, like, typically I would need, like, hypersensory deprivation, like quiet room type stuff to focus like that. It was amazing. It was amazing. And then I wound up staying up until, like, after 3:30 a.m., where typically, if it's getting close to midnight, like, I am dead tired. I took the supplements around 2 a.m., and then I was able to fall asleep sometime after 3:30, but I can't tell if that was, correlation or causation. And then the next day, I took a day off and rested. And yesterday, I took a 100 milligram dose, and it was smooth sailing all day. It was a little bit easier to be distractible, but um, it was life changing. So I just wanted to put that out there, that, like, these kind of things are out there. These kind of resources are out there. I'm not on the modafinil yet, so this is me starting the day without it, and I'm planning on taking another 100 milligrams today. So I'll give you more updates later. Thanks for watching.